Twitter is added again. Foolishness. So let's take a look here. Join the space. Twitter. All right. Added again. Mute you. All right, cool. Oh, you know what? That's probably why. I can see if that'll work. Let me see here. Oh, you know what? That's probably why. All right, cool. Sorry for it being so late, but it's better late than never. Unfortunately, at my job, I had to fucking do this stupid shit, and I had to pay the cost. I had to pay the price, and I was a little bit late, so I apologize for that. So we are going to do things differently. You know how I used to have the other hump days? What I used to actually do is I used to kind of do the two topics, and then at the end I had that stupid, talk about like what's on my mind. I changed it up. So what we're going to do is we are going to do some story time. This is a gift. Anybody that wanted to kind of have a discourse and discussion to be able to jump in and say what they need to say. So let me just kind of share on Twitter for the people. Bitch. Okay. Okay. For the people that want to join in. Okay. Looks like it works. Sony verse approve. What's going on, my boy? Boy. Read it, boy.
Hey, my dude, that Returnal update is savage. I was running the tower today.
Look, I didn't do the towers. I didn't do the towers.
It is sick.
I didn't do the towers, but you know what though? You know my classic fucking Elden Ring hate. I'm gonna say that's how you do co-op, because you can go through the entire game with co-op, and they made it more difficult.
Yeah, you ran it with Nelson, didn't you?
I ran it with Nelson. I was getting my shit pushed in, man. I was like, what the fuck? I thought they were just going to put two of us in there and just leave it. Nah. That's not what they did.
Yeah, we need to link up and play that, though. You and I.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I don't mind it either. I was trying to get one of my other friends to play, but either way.
Yeah.
So
it's savage for free.
It is beautiful. Beautiful. Ain't no way. Like I told you, motherfuckers, yo. I was like, man, why gotta
prophesize?
Yo, why gotta do that? Why y'all don't listen?
I don't know, man. What's coming next? Tell me what's next.
Horizon.
Facts. I can't wait for that too.
Horizon. They're gonna do a rebalancing. You're not gonna play as Aloy. You're gonna have different melees and possibly a lock-on feature. Because they heard us, they can't do anything with the gameplay because it is what it is. If you're gonna have all that shit, listen to a nigga when he speaks. Tired of this shit. Testify, motherfucker. You can't do that. You can't have all that. So let's get this shit popping. There is a lot of shit to cover. But before we cover, I wanted to. Who is this? Dante. Oh, Dante. What's this? Yo, what's going on? I always get you guys mixed the fuck up, yo, all the time, yo. Y'all sound the same.
Dante has returned. Hello, my fellows.
What's going on, man?
What's going on, bro?
We got a lot. of shit to cover, yo. So
I missed a lot of shit. I've been gone for like ever.
where did you? I was wondering. I was like, you don't be posting. What happened to you? What happened?
Nah, man. I just kind of stepped away from Twitter a little bit. Kind of spent a little more time with my child and stuff like that. Trying to make sure she's up to par and whatnot. And getting caught up with Cold War and Call of Duty and some other stuff. But other than that, Vanguard's still trash. You know what it is.
Yeah, unfortunately, it is trashy. So, okay. We got story time.
Uh-oh.
All right. So before we go on to our topics here, obviously, if you don't know, this is what I think is the best medium. Is this Twitter channel or whatever the fuck you want to call it is constantly evolving. So is the YouTube. Don't forget to sub to that too. It's just called Gamecast. It's all this shit is recorded. But we do have some story time here, right? And the story time that we have is what ended up happening at the gym. And what my question there, and it's not going to take too long. I just wanted to get this out before we go on to our topics and let the room fill up a little bit. A 44-year-old woman approached my friend because she saw us talking, right? Saw us talking. And she didn't want to talk to him. She wanted to talk to me. And she ended up as a passing by comment saying that she sees this guy, this black dude with cool hair that does these workouts and stuff like that. And as she said this, I was walking in and she's like, oh, that's the guy. And she already peeped the shit, right? So I'm sitting there, she's like talking about how she wants to do this and that or glutes, whatever the fuck she want to do. And her age came up. Because I think my friend was like, everybody thinks that he's younger. He's 30, but they probably think he's like 25. And she was like, oh, well, you're my age, right? She looks at me and she asked me if I was her age. And my stupid, naive self was like, nah, I can tell. Every race ages differently. Of course, I'm black, so I don't look like I'm almost 40. Most people don't know this shit, but it is what it is. And she gets offended by that. I'm like, I'm not, though. I'm pretty sure I'm not. And she was like, are you 39? No, bitch. I am 37. Ain't nobody ever mistaken my age to be older than what the fuck I look like, which I call bluff on that shit. Either way, I got her number because I knew she just kept mentioning about her divorce and how she had kids and that she was literally right up the street from me, which was kind of weird, but I accepted it. So I text her. She said, text me. I text her. I was like, hey, this is Josh. Just want to know how you feeling. This is just store my number. This bitch didn't say nothing the whole day. So I saw her the next day. She goes ahead and she says, oh, hi. Act like she didn't see me the first time. I had to kind of touch her shoulder. And I was like, hey, did you get my text? And she was like, oh, yeah, you said it was Josh. So I was like, oh, so you saw it and didn't even want to fucking acknowledge it, though. Okay, cool. So I said, I can't do anything now, but Thursday I'm able to, which is tomorrow. I said, I'm able to do this. So we can meet up there. So she didn't come to the gym. I said this on Tuesday, I believe. Today she was at the gym. Or day before yesterday, she was at the gym. She go to talk about something. Oh, my God. She hit me up mad late after I asked her, I said, how's she doing? She's like, oh, my God. My sister would be a text, right? She says, my sister died. And, she said that she just came from a funeral. Because her sister was, it was her sister's funeral. And I'm thinking like, bitch, you just fucking was in the gym 2 days in a row. And all of a sudden it hits you that your sister died. And now you're distraught. I call bluff. What is up with these older women that never matured past 16 years old? All of them. You want to play games. You're almost a half of a century old. You playing games. I just want to get that shit off my chest. If y'all guys want to talk about that later on, we can talk about it. But let's get into these topics. Let's start off with, let me see here. I don't know if you guys knew this, but PlayStation Plus was down for some reason. Did y'all hear about that shit?
No, what happened?
I didn't hear about that.
So for some reason, the system didn't verify. It didn't say that they had PlayStation Plus. Like it was up, and I'm gonna actually retweet it, and I'm gonna put it in my space. So each subject that I do, I'm gonna actually load it into my space here and actually update it. Say again.
It sounds like the same problem we had. Was it a couple of months back ago with the Game Pass? It was doing that. Like I had it, but it was saying I didn't have it. So I was like,
Well, it's kind of funny though. Here we go. It's kind of funny, and you can click on it if you want to. But it's kind of funny though, right? We have the Spartacus shit going on, and this has never happened to PlayStation Plus, which is interesting. It never fucking happened. So I wonder if PlayStation Plus or PlayStation Spartacus is imminent. I wonder that shit. You know what I'm saying? So
it's got to be close.
It has to be something to do with it.
They might be trying to integrate it, and maybe that's what's messing it up. They're trying to optimize it so that way everything runs smoothly, and they can start putting out the whatever they have planned in the future up on there.
That's what I'm thinking. That's the only conclusion.
That's the only explanation. That is it. Like that's exactly how you explain it is exactly what it sounds like. That just sounds like they're just trying to optimize it and make sure everything. Because aren't they having like a thing like Ultimate or whatever?
No, it's not like Ultimate. I have to specify because people are going to just relegate it to being. It's not the same type of service. It just seems like a beefed up PlayStation Plus, and I don't know what that means exactly. You know what I'm saying? That could mean anything.
But what else? What other value are you going to add with it? Like, are they going to add HBO Max with it? Are they going to have do you know what I mean? So you know how Xbox Live Gold started off with just Gold, right? And then they moved on to like what's that? Gold. It was like Ultra Gold or whatever. You get like free games every month or whatever. Yeah. But they also have EA Plus, right, along with it, and that used to be separate. Right, you used to have to pay for that separately. So that's what I'm trying to figure out. Like, what are they gonna do? Are they gonna have like Hulu and thing? Like, are they gonna give you an extra subscription with that? Like, if it's worth it, I'm down. If it's not, then
what's going on?
There's no fucking point.
No, they already did. You see the cliff notes of Spartacus?
No. Send it to my DM or send it up here or send it to DM, and I'll glance through it.
Essentially, just to relegate it, and when I find it, I'll send it to you. It's supposed to allow for game trials. It's supposed to allow for PlayStation 2, or PlayStation 1, 2, and PlayStation Portable games to be played.
But didn't they already have PlayStation 1 games and 2 games playing and PS3 games and PSP? So
no.
What?
No. When did they do this?
What on the like since the PlayStation 3 or 4 even, just the normal 4, not the Pro.
The PlayStation 4 had an
you get like free when you used to get when I had PlayStation Plus, I get like 2 3 free PlayStation 1 games, right? They had PSP, PS Vita.
No, that never, bro. The only thing I could think of is that you're behind the times, man. That must have been PS3 era. It's been so long ago, man. The only thing that came close was the PlayStation 2 remasters. That's pretty much it.
So you guys didn't have backwards compatibility? You guys did have backwards compatibility.
No, we didn't. Not at all.
Sony?
No. That was PS3.
So only PS3 had backwards compatibility.
PlayStation 3 to it played well, and for the first year it had backwards compatibility for PS2 and 1, but they took some components out to make it cheaper, and they lost the compatibility for a good amount of PS2 games. 70% of them.
But why?
Nigga, it's been almost 20 years. How did you not know this? Where were you at?
I didn't know because so here's my thing. I got a PS4, right? PS4 Pro, and I got it for The Last of Us, I think Infamous Second Son, right? And I think another game. I think it was Beyond Two Souls, right? And I got those games, and I played the crap out of them. And then, like, I ended up going through some struggle or some shit, and I ended up having, selling PS4 or whatever. But I could have sworn you guys did have backwards compatible for, like, forever, ever since the PS3.
Nigga, you dreamt that shit.
And that's just weird because so many people are like stepping up for PlayStation, but I'm like, y'all haven't had backwards compatibility to PS3. That's a little.
No, they already explained why they didn't. They changed it. They announced it in 2003 and 13. They said that they're not using a cell processor anymore, which makes that almost impossible to emulate. And then.
Wow, I had learned something. So, okay, so if that's the case, then why are people backing PlayStation so much? Just for the exclusives, or?
Just.
Don't nobody want to play no old fucking games.
I do. Sorry about that. I'm eating your ears. I do. But
I do.
Well, here's the thing. Back in the day, when Sony had these exclusives, nobody played them, and they weren't as top tier as what they used to be. So the exchange is that you get better games, but then there's no backwards compatibility. So so the cell processor made it almost impossible for backwards compatibility games. And to be honest with you, with the Xbox, they barely have them as well. They got a couple of them and shut that shit off, that program or initiative. They came back in 2014 and 15, Sony did, and they were trying to make it worth it to do PS2 games and allow to retroactively add trophy support. And no one fucking bought it. So the conclusion that Sony got is that nobody gave a fuck. So there you have it. But whatever it is that they're trying to pad is that's what's supposed to be coming with Spartacus. And I believe this situation with the PS Plus going down for some reason, or it can't recognize, that was an interesting thing. I was like, what the fuck? So you got shit like that going on. I was like, what? So that's what I personally believe it went down for, because I don't remember it ever going down in that particular regard. Oh, go on, cheat, man.
Yo, what's up, Gamecast? I always try and come in here and show some love, man.
Absolutely, man.
Faces and shit. I can't stay long. The lady and I going out, but I pop in. But man, it's good to see you, man. I think the Spartacus stuff that you referenced earlier, that supposed leak thing, I think that's completely fake. By the way, that graphic that I believe you referenced, I don't know that there's any truth to that. But here's what I would like to see. Here's what I would hope to see, and here's how I think Sony can really add some value to their package. And I've been saying this for a long time. So when it happens, I want my flowers. But I believe Sony is going to do this with their Game Pass competitor. Whatever, people get all triggered when you say Game Pass competitor. I don't give a fuck though. I think here's what we can expect. We're going to see mid-tier games come out from Sony. They'll still be first party, but I think that Twisted Metal game coming out, that's going to come out free to play. When I say free to play, or maybe not free to play is the right word, but that Twisted Metal game is going to launch on whatever their Game Pass competitor. I'm just going to refer to it as Spartacus. That Twisted Metal is going to come out on Spartacus. I wouldn't be surprised to see if Last of Us Factions 2 or whatever rolls out through Spartacus as well, but also is on sale for $60. They're gonna do some things to breathe some new life in their service. Sony has already went on record to say they will never give their first party bangers out. They don't find it financially viable. So we're not going to see a one-to-one day and date release with their bangers. That's just not happening. Sony doesn't need to do it. They're making money hand over fist. But here's the way I think they stand out and really be unique. And that is they leverage the fact that they just bought Crunchyroll and Aniplex, and now Funimation just got rolled into that. Sony basically has an entire monopoly on the anime industry with these recent acquisitions. So Dante referenced, how do they add value proposition to it? And the way you do that is by leveraging these acquisitions. You give, the top tier version has streaming anime attached to it. Then you have those mid-tier games. The trials that you mentioned, I don't know if those are going to be as part of Spartacus, because they're already rolling those out in Poland with Death Stranding and a few other titles. So I don't know that they're going to lock that behind a paywall. And if they do lock that behind a paywall, that's fucking stupid, by the way. But I think
the trials are stupid in general. It's, to me, I'm only mentioning it just because that's what the rumor said. In terms of what I believe, I don't know.
If you lock fucking game trials behind a paywall, that's some bitch shit right there, man. That's the lamest shit. If you have confidence in your product, let people try your product for a little bit. Steam does it. The PC world's been doing it, and the console world needs to get on board with it too. The fact that they don't is an indication that you don't have confidence in your product. You're scared people will play it and not buy it. But that's how I think Spartacus rolls out. Like I said, it's never going to be a one-to-one competition with Game Pass. It's not intended to be that, and it's also not going to put their first-party day and date. But you will see first-party games on the mid-tier level coming out with it.
I think personally, just to touch upon what you said, I think they should just do the Costco route. You pay a membership and you get the fucking first-party discounts. You know what I mean? Get that shit for like $50 instead of the 70.
But I will say this, bro. I love Game Pass. I think Game Pass is the best value in gaming. I haven't bought an Xbox game since 2017, with that last one being Cuphead, and the only other title I bought since 2017 in these 5 years is Death's Door. Game Pass meets all my gaming needs on the Xbox side of things, and I know there's some fear mongering and fear that things will get the Halo Infinite treatment. And maybe those fears are legitimate, but at the end of the day, I'll tell you this: if Sony did, which I don't think is likely, launch a Game Pass day and date service, I would absolutely be all over that shit the same way I'm on Game Pass.
I will say this: it's not good for the industry in general, and it's good for us, but eventually, anything that's free is good for us, but the eventual collapse. One of the two things are going to happen: a degradation in quality, or the collapse of the fucking that particular company.
Hey, not to mention, I just want to add, I think all of their game as a service, like their 10 games, is that what they're initially trying to do? Like 10, right?
I believe it was 10, yeah.
All those are coming to that Spartacus, too.
I think what you're saying, Gamecast, those are some legitimate concerns. I think it's too early to necessarily fear those things. I don't think we've seen enough examples. I do think Halo Infinite's rollout was poor. I do think
it was poor. It was poor out the gate, like before it even released. So it's it's hard to see it.
I don't believe that Halo Infinite was poor because of the platform in which it was distributed, that being Game Pass. We know on record that Halo's development was abysmal. There was problems.
It was already
I can't. It's too hard to say. It's an easy to escape Game Pass as the piecemealed a la carte version of Halo Infinite we got. But the reality of the matter is, development was messy on that game. So while the fears, I think, are legitimate, I think it's mostly fear-mongering because we don't have enough examples. And Game Pass has only really kicked off around Gears of War 5, right? Because they weren't really dropping a lot of first-party games.
Sea of Thieves.
We got Sea of Thieves.
State of Decay was around that time. That fucked up goddamn shit.
Bleeding Edge.
Sea of Thieves is a great example. But here's the thing. Sea of Thieves is a great example of a poor rollout, but let's be honest. Almost every live service game is a poor rollout. Destiny, one of the greatest comeback stories around, was a terrible rollout. I mean, vanilla Destiny was bad.
This is true, but at the same time, I mean, you have $1 trillion company, $2 trillion company that can't seem to figure this shit out, and they've been in the game since 2002, I believe, or 2001, and 20 years, and you still haven't figured out the gaming industry.
Well, let me ask you a question, Gamecast. Let's say we could look 10 years into the future, right? Mm-hmm. And let's say, because like I said, the concerns are legitimate, but let's say there was not a degradation in quality over games over the next 10 years. They just got better and better. And Game Pass was continuing to be successful. Would you change your tune at that point?
In that hypothetical,
correct.
I'm going to say because it's basically it's always bad. There's no case or scenario that is positive for either a developer or the quality itself. It will always be bad. The model itself is flawed.
But here's the thing,
no way of fixing it.
If that is true,
but if the answer to your question, I like to purchase my games because it gives me a sense of commitment towards them. I like, even with PlayStation Plus, I don't download games. I want to have my games. That's me personally, when I'm answering honestly. I don't finish games that I just get for free. I like to earn.
Don't you think that is... I get what you're saying, where like because that's just a tried old method that you tend to appreciate the things in life that you work hard for, you earn and you pay. But don't you think, though, that for that same reason, you're probably giving more times to games that really don't truly deserve your attention or your time because you did make the $60 investment? Because I'll be honest, when I get on Game Pass, I'm like, yo, this shit's boring after an hour. Fuck it, I'm just moving on. But if I bought a $60 game, I'm more inclined to power through that shit, even if I'm not fucking loving it, because I'm like, damn, I spent my money on it. So
I become more picky with the games I purchase because of that. I'm not just going to haphazardly just buy shit, especially for FOMO or just do the hype. I've already had plans to buy Elden Ring. I had my reasons for it. And
you ended up really not liking it.
Well, it's okay. It's not that I dislike it. I just don't like the rhetoric behind it. But
that's kind of how I feel about Breath of the Wild. So I feel you on that one.
Like the fan base makes it distaste. It makes it just, I don't like it. My problem with Elden Ring is that I thought that I was going to be able to play a decent amount of co-op with the horse and everything. Like it was going to be, you know what I mean? Yeah, and you can't do any of that. And I'm like, I didn't like that shit at all.
I didn't know that until you put out your post on the thread on the timeline, drawing the comparison to Returnal. So that was interesting. It doesn't hurt me any because I play games solo. I'm a loner in the gaming world, but that's a 100% legitimate concern.
I didn't need it. You know what I mean? Like I platinum Returnal. I don't need somebody to hold my hand, but just to dick around in the world and just fuck around in it. You know what I mean? It's an open world game, and it's like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like,
no, it's
what?
Like, yeah. Am I really walking across the planet?
Right. It's not like and you can't use the horse. And then when you try to go into a dungeon, you can't do that either. You have to summon it.
Hey, I ain't even trying to fight the motherfucking tree sentinel without a horse. They could keep that shit.
No, and that's what I don't like either. The game, like when you look at it, the game's broke. Dante, what's going on?
Well, listen, Gamecast, real quick. I do have to get going, but I always want to show your spaces some love, man. But the lady and I are going out. But man, always a good time. I know you're recording, so I'm gonna catch the rest of it in a little bit. But you have a great rest of your evening, man, and thanks for letting me talk.
No problem.
This is cheat code.
All right, Dante, what's going on?
I was going to say to his rhetoric on that, and I'm going to use a FPS as an example, Call of Duty, right? They're not going to have another Call of Duty till what, 2024, 2020, something like that, right? Because of all the problems with Vanguard, and they're trying to discontinue zombies for Vanguard because that's not going well either. So they're trying to focus more on Cold War and Warzone, right? Which is why they have the Rebirth revamped or whatever, right? I think Game Pass has given a way to the gaming industry to make. I understand it's hard work. You bust your ass. That's great. And I respect that. However, I think it's just leading to lousiness, right? Because here's the thing. I've been with Xbox since the OG Xbox. I love the Xbox. The controllers are fit within my hand, right? I have big hands, so obviously I have to use these instead of the damn tiny ass controllers. My thing is that I see is if they don't stop.
Wait. It must really suck to have large hands because that will mean you have a tiny penis. From your point of view, it must suck.
Oh my god!
I swear it's larger. My head is covering it. I promise. That's what you told them, girls. It's my large head is covering it all.
Oh, dear Lord. No.
My bad.
No, you good. So my main point is that I think it's going to lead way to lousiness in a way that now we just get products unfinished, right? And then they'll just do updates. And now it's just like, that's their excuse for everything. Oh, well, you got it free, so what are you complaining about? Or you got it for a discount, so what are you complaining about? And while that is great and all, I'd rather buy my game at full price because I want to experience that. I miss going to GameStop and like sitting in line till midnight. You know what I mean? And maybe call me a prude or whatever, but that's just me, right? So there's a lot of games that come out and they're just unfinished. They're unpolished, unfinished, everything's thing. Right? Versus where we used to have games to where we got the game, you bought the game, that was it. You got it, it was online. If it had multiplayer, it had multiplayer, right? We need to revert back to that, right? You can still have the little DLC or whatever on the side if you want to, or cosmetics or whatever, but most content needs to be upfront, right? That's what I'm tired of, is every time now it just seems like a major excuse. Oh, well, we can't do this because of that. And we're not doing that because, people are complaining too much. It's like, no, make the game that you were supposed to make. You're still going to make the revenue either way, right? So
not really. No. Wait, let me say this.
Hold on. I'm going to make one more point. Wouldn't you make
a lot more revenue? I got all these subjects.
Wouldn't you make? Hold on, I'll make it fast. Wouldn't you make a lot more revenue making a full front finished game versus making an unfinished game? Like as far as publicity and popularity goes,
unfinished.
Why so?
Advertising is extremely expensive. A, like really fucking expensive. B, you don't have to put the effort in. If your game is not finished, you have a quarter of the game, then that's a quarter of the cost. I mean, that's 3/4 of the cost or less than a quarter, whatever the fuck. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? So, like for Fortnite got publicity through, for word of mouth. And then you have to advertise it. And it slowly, just like with any free to play, it slowly gets its attention. That's pretty much it. That's just what it is. The thing is, I do agree with you wholeheartedly when it comes to if you have a game that's on Game Pass, it eliminates competition. You don't have to work hard for people to play your shit. You feel me?
Yeah, but I feel like now that I have way more games than I need, I hardly finish them. Like the games I'm used to playing and I've already played in the past, already beat, I'll play those perfectly fine because I own those games, right? But having all these games and stuff, it's like,
It's overwhelming with the games that I have now.
Right.
To add a subscription on top of it, it's like I got a backlog, I got games I want to replay, I got games coming out. And then I got a service too. Like, when the fuck am I going to get around to that? By the time I get around to playing one of those games, usually it's $10.
Right. And that's why I don't agree with it. I don't agree with it. That's what's going on. And I think that's why you can never get rid of people buying their whole games. I don't think you can get rid of that. Who's requested? Oh, Reckon.
They're trying.
They want to try because they feel like it's the easier way because basically you just can't. What's going on, Reckon? Some chick came into the fucking space. I don't know what she was doing. I guess she saw either Hump Day or she saw like the 44-year-old acting like a 16-year-old and she this ain't a red pill channel. Shit. What's going on, Reckon?
Hey. All right. So, I guess what's the main topics of today? I have few things that I want to discuss one by one, but would be interested in what's on your mind.
So what's on my mind is the PlayStation Plus being down for some reason. Not the whole network, just Plus for some people. The VRR the PlayStation 5 Pro, the Xbox controllers, Haven Studios being updated or purchased, and then a PS5 update. That's the topics for today.
Oh, okay, cool. So I guess we all know, right? Sony or PlayStation, from their side of it, they're going to make massive changes in relation to for their subscription services, and they have the guns to back it up, and they've been working probably hard. My theory, and this is a guess, and I'll take the W if it's correct, is one of their advertising taglines for specifically for PlayStation 5 is play has no limits, play, play, play. You know, if you go to the Japanese PlayStation YouTube, it's all about play. I wouldn't be surprised if this new services that are coming out is going to be called PlayStation Play or PS Play. And of course, there's this discussion of is it going to be tiered, not tiered, what's in it, what's not in it. That's beside the point. But once it launches, it will have a number of multiplayer or service type games that are going to be incorporated. I'm not sure if that is going to be sufficient, but the main thing with PlayStation, this new services is they are going to literally pick up the people who are currently in PlayStation Plus and just make it be part of it. So at the end of the day, they already have 49 to 50 million people subscribing to it. It's just going to be, those individuals are going to be part of that. And from the get-go, they can just claim, with this new services, we already have 50 million people. They are going to do that. I'm not sure how high you can go. We know that from the other side, Game Pass has around 25 to 30 million people subscribed to it. And they have shared some percentages. I just love that, they share percentages. It means fuck all.
We don't know what that fucking means. 4%, 10% of what?
Yeah.
Of what?
Yeah. 100% of one is one, so it's just, yeah. So I expect big things. I am really happy that they have acquired Haven Studios because now it gets them a big.
Oh wait, we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there.
Okay.
Let me do things in order. Since we pretty much exhausted it. Basically, what I was saying is the PlayStation Plus going down could be them working on the back end for essentially whatever they're planning on doing with Spartacus.
Yeah.
But we're gonna move on to the next one. I'm gonna actually
the one thing that I will add is currently GDC is going. The cream of the top, the leads or whatever you want to call it, from all other development studios are currently there. This is a perfect opportunity, and we know that Unity is having a conference in relation to supporting PSVR 2. It would be perfect opportunity for PlayStation to share what are their plans in relation to the service model going forward. And probably by its nature, if you share it with more people, the chances of leaking gets higher and higher. So I wouldn't be surprised if they do an update fairly soon. I'm sure that you've seen that people who have fairly good understanding or knowledge of the industry making some, how to say it, kind of like a shot across Twitter saying, they should have something like this, they should have something like that, and specifically in relation to what are they planning to do in services. So,
I don't think GDC would be the spot that they would use.
No. What I mean is GDC is the perfect opportunity to share what they're doing with developers. As soon as that happens, as I said, the chances of leaking gets higher and higher. So they will then need to follow that up with what they're going to do. Of course, they're going to ask some of the developers what they think, and yeah.
I still don't think, just historically, they're not going to say those like services would be stuff that I don't think they're going to push that out. I know what's going on now, and I'm actually looking at it. I'm keeping an eye on what Forbidden West and shit like that. So that being said, the next topic I want to talk about is, well, we just got an update for the PlayStation 5, and this is going to go hand in hand with the VRR. That's not actually out with this update, but it has something to do with it. I guess it set the preliminaries essentially for what they're planning on doing with VRR. So as I was working, I kind of tested it out to see if to see what was going on. Much needed changes. If you guys didn't know, much needed changes. They dressed up a lot of things. They got like these little pro tips and shit like that here too, that you'll get like a little pop-up and let you know what the new changes are. You can put more games on its dashboard. You can pin games so it will never leave the fucking the dashboard. Like basically you have like a cycle to get bumped off. So there's that.
I'm using the voice command because I got like a 400 game library, so I don't want to search for a lot of shit.
Yeah, because sometimes some of that shit don't be working. Also, uploads and downloads now have its own specific spot that stays up there, so you can kind of see what's going on there.
That's the only thing I don't like. It won't go away unless you hide it, and then you got to look for it if you want to see. I only want it in use when it's in use.
I didn't like it the first time because sometimes it was like glitching. Party, they now changed it to have the word party instead of like, I don't know what they used to call it, group chat or something like that. So anything that is like the actual chat that you type in, it looks like a text message. Anything that's a party, or you want to create it. Actually, the parties and the chats are all together. They smashed them all together. Or you can take a look to see all your friends that's online and who to search for. So that's all there. That's all there for you. And that works just perfectly fine. But most importantly, though, is this VRR situation. Remember, PlayStation really never had an issue with the games suffering from frame rate issues. Usually people, it's a frame or two, but it was usually, look, you call me a fanboy all you want. I don't know what to say because it is what it is. It was usually the Xbox that had like crazy issues. So they usually use the VRR to kind of smooth over all those issues. But it'd be curious. One of the things that they kind of said that was like really interesting is that this VRR doesn't need to be selected per game. It just does it. And I don't have a VRR option on my TV. So I'm kind of curious to see if anybody knows anything about the VRR and if was it per game basis on the Xbox. Jeremy, do you know?
I'm not sure. I thought the game has to support it, but there was actually a note in there that said something about the PS5 thing about games that some games that may not support it. It'll help anyways, but I haven't really looked at it that much because things are usually fairly well optimized. So
my dislike is the fucking like when you turn on your PS5, it goes directly to the Explorer. And I like the Explorer a lot. It's funny how much just the complaints you have. Why do I need to have advertisements when I load my PS5? Bitch, do you complain about YouTube and every fucking 2 minutes it show advertisement? And it's not even pertinent to fucking what you're watching. I wanted to watch a Let's Play of fucking Elden Ring, and then a commercial popped up. Oh, I'm shooting massive loads. Oh, I can get my dick harder. Like, what the fuck does that have anything to do with Elden Ring? Either way, everything is catered to the stuff that you purchase or whatever the case is. And some things I don't know. Some things will pop up like an update or whatever the case is, or a sale, and it works just fine. But the thing is, it's like the PlayStation Plus and the PlayStation Store is now like separate. And I don't know why it's like that. There's more fucking items and I can't hide it either, which is very fucking irritating. We got Puka in the house here. But yeah, VRR is not ready yet. but it is coming. So it'd be curious to see what's going on there. What's going on, Puka?
What up? What up? Did you say that they're gonna have commercials on my PlayStation now?
No, you know how you turn on the PlayStation. I reckon I get you in just a second. You know how you have when you boot up your PlayStation, it goes directly to the Explorer item, and then the Explorer item could have right now. They were talking about Warframe because I've already downloaded it. So they'll just kind of keep you up to date. They had what do you call it? The Cyberpunk, the update.
Yeah, okay.
People were fucking complaining about that. Why are you showing advertisements? Oh boy, man! Any motherfuckers, these journalists be dancing for clicks, dancing for fucking clicks.
Hey, but I think that VRR. I know that you kind of slightly fanboyed there for a second. PlayStation does, I think every game at this point with this technology is going to experience some frame rate and some really in the heavy hit areas, big explosions like battlefields and shit like that, or your big shooting games and shit. So I think VRR, man, is super clutch, man. I'm super excited about it.
Do you have? Well, I wasn't fanboying about it. We just have better frame rates on PlayStation versus Xbox. That's. I didn't say it was way better. I just said it was better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, I mean, typically we don't have too much to worry about because VRR doesn't smooth it out. If the frame rate goes too low, it renders it useless. It's only supposed to smooth out a couple frames. But if your shit going like 50 and 40 frames, it doesn't even work anyway.
Yeah, I wonder about that, right? Like, I wonder how big the frame rate, how big it can catch. Now, if it goes from 60 to 45, I would hope that it would be able to catch that shit. You see what I'm saying?
No. Nope. It only catch like maybe in a delta of like 5 frames. That's it for any system. It doesn't matter what it is.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I don't know how clutch it'll be. I think at this point, though, man, a lot of this shit, a lot of the PlayStation 5 shit, and I've said this before, is this like quality of life shit. You see what I'm saying? Not humongous changes, but like small changes that in 2 years we're going to say, how in the fuck did we ever do this before? You see what I'm saying? So
I will say Sony should have had this shit on there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the fuck took it so long. Maybe because they were making it work just automatically instead of per game. Go on, Reckon. What you got to say?
Well, actually, I was going to make that commentary. One of the things that you have to be 100% with Sony, what they do, and even with PlayStation, is they want to get it as best as possible, right? You always have to go back to that Mark Cerny, what he said in terms of the backwards compatibility. He said, we're currently testing some 100 games and we are getting some, good results. And then everybody took that and ran with it saying, PlayStation has backwards compatibility of only 100 games. But it turns out that, it's 4,000. And
that's all they had tested at that time.
Yeah. That's all, but they're very careful in what they do and what they deliver, specifically with these software updates, because they have a massive amount of people that make sure that stuff works. And if stuff doesn't work, you see what happens, right? For 30 hours, GT7 goes down and some adjustments to microtransaction, and then everybody is literally on top of them and discussing the downfall of almost PlayStation. It's like, it's counterintuitive, but it kind of shows that how much they don't really fuck up, because if they fucked up as much as maybe once a month, it would be doom and gloom forever until the end of time. But it's like specifically with these software updates, they're very careful. We've seen it with the expansion slot with the SSD. We're going to see it with VRR, and we're going to see some of the new tools. Again, what about the tools that they're going to start adding into the PlayStation 5 system? It's part of the course. The only thing that I am worried about is, when I boot up Horizon Forbidden West, if it crashes, I'm worried. If it doesn't, I don't care.
I heard about that too, and one of my friends was calling out another friend. It was like, yo, he's lying. I'm like, no, he doesn't do that. And they were talking about some clearing. For me personally, every time I turn on my PS5, I reset it just because that's how computers work. You know what I'm saying? Like, whatever it tries to keep in memory, memory leaks and stupid shit like that. But regardless of the matter, his system would turn off within fucking 5 minutes. And I'm like, what the hell? No other game was doing it. And that's because probably some of these redundant pieces of the system, and it may be redundant in one area that's affected by it, even though it still has the same, what was it, 36 CUs or 34? I forgot what the fuck it is.
36 CUs.
36, yeah.
But keep in mind that it is like how many percentages? Almost few percentages larger than the CUs in PlayStation 4, and also they are clocked, extremely high.
Oh no, I know that, but I was thinking like, let's say that on the first row, the fourth one was made redundant. You know what I'm saying? And because of the code, anybody that has that type of configuration where that's redundant, you get weird like issues like that. I don't know. I know for me personally, Forbidden West crashed on me once. That's personally. You know what I'm saying? But I also have the issue of when I play Grand Theft Auto, the definitive edition, I can't stream and go into my map at the same time. So weird shit like that happens. Who knows? But it'd be interesting to see how VRR works. I don't have a TV to really support it anyway, so it never really bothered me. And really, I think that the developer should not depend on VRR and depend on your fucking game running properly. It probably worked decently for Returnal because Returnal has like little hiccups and shit like that. Which, by the way, oh gosh, if y'all have Returnal, now's the time. Now's the fucking time. But PlayStation Pro, we had that shit too. Apparently, people were up in arms about PlayStation Pro, or PlayStation 5 Pro. They claimed that they can't even get the fucking PlayStation 5 out there. Why would they make a Pro? It's like, damn, can motherfuckers just be future-proof? Can we just think about the future for a second? They're not talking about the next year they're going to release a fucking PS5 Pro. That wouldn't make any sense. And especially they have data on the PS4 Pro, and it didn't sell crazy amounts of numbers anyway for the enthusiasts in that particular regard. But it's supposedly significant improvements over the PS5 base. That's according to the rumor. So what do you guys got to say about that? You can just jump in and talk.
Well, a lot of times, because as soon as you release a console, you go right into developing a new GPU and a new system. And by the time you get about halfway to the life cycle, you're kind of starting over because the technology has changed so much and the price of what you're predicting to the, the components that you're putting in them changes so much that they end up scrapping that and starting over anyways. So instead of doing that, you can just kind of release that for the more hardcore base and,
But they got a timeline, anyway. So I think that it helps them to manufacture the chips anyway and get things up and running. So that's what I personally believe. This would help. But it ain't coming out any fucking time soon. I don't know who thinks that this is going to come out. Maybe a third year, you'll get a PS5 Pro. What's in it, I believe, is going to be AMD's version of DSLL or DLSS or whatever the fuck you say. I never can get it right. Whatever spatial anti-aliasing that they got going on there. Maybe it'd be built in. You'd be able to put all the ray tracing bells and whistles in there. Have a faster frame rate. Like, who knows? That's what I believe that it will be, personally. So it'd be really cool to see it, but don't expect that shit to come out like immediately. That's not going to happen. Like, please no, with the stupidity. But I felt like putting that to your attention. Does anybody have anything to say about that at all?
In regards to PlayStation 5 Pro, it makes sense for them to release it. The main aspect of it is, I'm not sure from a percentage perspective, but the hardcore is always going to go for the new one, right? So you get an influx of already used PlayStation 5s either going on a second-hand market, which increases their base, of course. It's a plus. or it gets transitioned into a family member or a friend. So, and again, that person is now counts as a new user. So, in terms of what kind of improvements they can do, of course, you're gonna have the full 60 with all of the details. And if you take Horizon Forbidden West as an example, that would be the case. If you have a look at GT7, it would be 60 frames, full on, RT ray tracing in game, as expected. But the one improvement that I would really, really like to see from a PlayStation Pro perspective would be increase in RAM, if they can do it.
For what reason?
For high level of textures.
Did you play Forbidden West?
Yes, I have. Yes, I know.
You mean those type of textures?
No, like okay, so one of the best thing that Decima engine does is the LOD system in there is absolutely industry leading, and also of course with Nanite with UE5, they do it too. What I mean is from other studios and other engines they use, it can have a little bit of better impact on better RAM, like faster and in a little bit of larger quantity in terms of space. Like if when you say Decima is a magic thing on its own. So like not every studio has a Decima engine that can load 4K assets in a matter of milliseconds. This is one of the reasons why CD Projekt Red is moving to UE5, because their engine, no matter how much they can optimize it, it's going to be really difficult to catch up to what Nanite and Lumen does on Unreal 5. So it makes, from a technological perspective,
it's not heavy either.
Huh?
It's not heavy either on the system.
Oh yeah, it is not heavy, because most of the time, if the item or the asset is not interacted, it is like almost like a static picture. So it's not heavy on RAM itself. Hence the reason you can increase the quality, up to a ridiculous standard, and the more you can increase it, the further away from the character, the better and better it's gonna look. So in GT7. From distance, of course, the car does not have that full detail. And then once you get closer and closer, additional details get loaded and loaded in. It's almost imperceptible to the naked eye, but it would be nice to have almost the full asset in the game, because with additional GPU support, with ray tracing coming in, the more detail you can have on the asset, the better bounce light it's going to have. So, yeah.
I'm just curious on how much they can improve on Decima. You know what I mean? When I think about that, that's a whole other topic, because Lumen has its issues too. They have the temporal upscaling, but the image still was very, very, very soft. And I'm not a fan of soft imagery. You know what I'm saying? And it kind of chugged anyway as it stands. It's nice to see it in real time. You can move it around, manipulate it, but I wasn't weird to see about that one. That's going to be another conversation that I would like to have, maybe in a different type of space. But you know what? I woke up in one morning and I see what I thought was a parody. I thought that someone was making fun of Microsoft and had these furry controllers. And I was like, I saw it and I didn't think too much of it. I was just, laughed it off. I'm like, come on, guys. They're not that bad with these controllers. And I went to sleep. And then I woke up again, and it turns out that it's legitimate. Do you guys think that these controllers are like cash grabs? Like, what exactly is this?
They sell a lot of controllers. I tell you that. Almost every guy I know. How many games you got? 12. How many controllers you got? 47. Whoa!
Like those type of furry controllers isn't meant for you to play. You can't play no game with that shit.
Yeah,
like,
you can, bro.
I think that's for a contest though. I think only one person actually wins that. That's what Fatal said, anyways.
But then what about the pastel Easter?
No, those are legit. Yeah, they're weird, but it's a weird company.
And they had a nerve to show like the fingernails. The emoji with the fingernails being what? They really leaned into this. I don't understand how someone and I'll talk about this on Saturday. Saturday is gonna be a nice little fucking what do you call it? A space/podcast. Just to give you a sneak peek, I'm gonna say Sony is no longer the media's darling. Like anything Sony does, it's instantly hated. There is no reason why Gran Turismo should get a 1 for user review scores. And as everyone was jumping on the bandwagon just to be on the right side of history. And that shit is so fucking annoying. People don't understand when it comes to these cars and marketing, you can't just do whatever you want with those things. You can't even damage the cars in these racing games. You know what I mean? So it's like, we don't know exactly. And the economy was fucked up when the game came out. Bro, I had like 800,000 credits my first 2 days. And just the optics looked like shit because it's like, obviously something was wrong with the credits. And I barely played it and still got that shit. I played like 2 hours of it and ended up getting like 800,000. And they want you to obviously play the game and test out the different, the physics and the different cars and shit like that. But like people just jumped on Polyphony Digital and Gran Turismo because it was the cool thing to fucking do. It was the cool thing to be shitty with PlayStation. If they were doing something out of line, fine. To me personally, creating controllers and no games is out of line to me. Somebody should be like questioning that personally. You know what I mean? And besides, you got other games that are extremely egregious. Halo, for instance, you know what I'm saying? I guess because it's free, people, quote unquote, it's like Game Pass. People will sit there and say that, well, I had to pay $70 for it or whatever the case is. But Battlefield was another game that was completely incomplete. And you still had to pay like the whole $60 and it died quickly. So everybody has their fucking money, like, ripped from them.
It was $120 if you wanted like the first year of season passes.
Bro, Far Halo. It's just Far Cry and Halo thrown together. It's literally all it is. I'm not shitting you. Like what?
I mean, I'm not even trying to shit on, like, we're not even just talking about Microsoft, just in general. It's like the second fucking, and I think Reckon was saying that shit too. The second Sony sneezes wrong, people loses their fucking mind, man. Go on, Reckon.
I guess, two things to add in relation to this discussion is with controllers, I have no idea why would someone have more than 3 controls, maybe 4. It's just, in addition to that, it just feels excessive. It's just no idea why. The other thing I wanted to say is, this is not from me. This is someone else who analyzes, to a certain extent, the industry. One of the marketing strategies internally for the PlayStation 5, what PlayStation started doing is they're going to control the narrative themselves. As a result of it, they've kind of cut off a lot of these massive outlets, gaming outlets, websites that used to feed on PlayStation.
Yeah, they're not getting the views from the articles with them and the news from them, and they're suffering financially.
Yeah. So as a result, because PlayStation kind of stopped giving them headline information, because one of the things that they found out is if they release a brand new information on PlayStation as a state of play, a brand new information that gets millions of views, and then it also gets dispersed through those websites. But because some of these larger websites, they didn't get this information at brand new, the traffic is way down. So to pivot and to balance the decreasing number of eyes or clicks, they've identified a certain type of topic that gets the most clicks, and it is not positive Xbox or positive PlayStation news. It is not actually even negative Xbox news. It is negative PlayStation news gets so much traffic. The interesting thing is negative Nintendo and positive Nintendo news gets almost exactly the same. But with positive PlayStation news, it hardly gets any clicks because everybody's like, yeah, what do you expect? They're PlayStation, yay, whatever. So currently
that's sick.
Media,
that's sick.
Yeah, the media industry, or what do you want to call it, this fan-driven industry of games media is highly concentrating on negative PlayStation news because at the end of the day, that's what it gets clicks. It's so good. On the other side, and I've asked actually King to look into it. I have been having a look and closer in how it works. Is anybody here and who can comment on it a part of the Xbox Ambassador program?
I don't think they are.
I used to be, but I fell out of it.
Okay.
I was just like, nah. Yeah, no.
Can I ask you a few questions? My understanding, I haven't signed up for it because, of course, why would I waste time? But what I've seen is that there is a closed off community space of forums, areas that you can earn stuff. If you are, if you're creating a podcast or if you're sharing positive Xbox news, you can share it. And then you get thumbs up or positive interaction from the community.
Yes.
And you get, if you can show that to the community, you get thumbs up. As a result of it, you get rewarded. Is that correct?
And as a result of it, you get what? Say that again.
You get rewards, like maybe a free something and free here, or points to utilize.
Yeah, like Xbox Live or Ultimate or a game or something, or maybe a code to early access to like games and stuff like that. If you get really thing, but you got to put a lot of work into it, though. You gotta know the game, right? You're playing. If you're teaching people, helping people to the game, the achievements and all that stuff, and where exactly to go and how to do the glitch or Easter egg and yada yada yada. So yeah, I mean, it's a if you want to help people, like because there's a lot of youth out there that grow up and they're not too keen on the online. They're not used to it yet, or maybe they get kind of picked on or bullied for not playing correctly. And that could be a good leeway, kind of like a Big Brother thing. And I love it. Don't get me wrong. It's a great program. Anybody who wants to sign up for that. But again, it's a lot of work, and especially if you're trying to do podcasts. I mean, I guess you can kind of integrate it with your podcast, right? That would make more sense than just trying to, however. But it is a good program.
I guess my main question I would ask is, let's say I write, Game Pass is an awesome subscription services. For $15 a month, you can get 300 plus games for free. I post that. Can I show that as onto the Xbox Ambassadors Program community? And would that get like positive clicks?
I wouldn't know, because at that time, Xbox Game Pass wasn't really popping off like it is now. Like it was, but now it's over 9,000 now. Around that time, I wouldn't. I have known, because yes, it was there, and yes, I had it, and yes, we were all doing our thing with the achievements and everything. But it's like, you have achievement hunters now. So it seems like the ambassadors program is kind of pointless. And Achievement Hunters, I believe, has been around since Rooster Teeth, if I'm not mistaken, right? Mm-hmm. So they have their own program. And I mean, they've got videos on how to do things, glitches, you know, achievements, secrets, all that stuff too. So, I mean, the ambassador, I would say it's completely useless. Maybe, you know, it would be some work to some people, you know, you want to help people and stuff, maybe to make them feel good or whatever. But I feel like it's kind of useless now. They should just like cancel it and stick with the achievement hunters. And achievement hunters should actually hire more people and start their little program and kind of boost it up, right? Because it's as famous as it is now, and you can connect your account with it too, which is good. So say you get 50 points for beating a game on hardcore when you actually shouldn't have gotten more. It actually doubles the points of what you've gotten, which I love that factor. But yeah, I would say the ambassador program is great if you're new and you want to help people and that's your passion. As far as anything else, I think Achievement Hunters does it better, but that's just me.
Okay. No, I guess my main question is, like, if you share something positive on the social media, can you link or reference that what you've done and put it on your profile in the, you know, in the ambassadors program to show the community that you are, you know, sharing positive?
What do you mean, like on social media, like on Twitter or whatever?
So on Twitter, on Facebook,
or on the main program page itself?
Yeah, like, you know, you would have your own profile and you would show what you have done for the month or for the week. And one of the things that, you know, ambassador can do is send positive news or information on social media. I guess what I'm meaning is, can you screenshot it or can you link it on your profile so your friends on the ambassador program can see what you've been up to?
I don't think I ever got that deep into it. I don't think I ever messed with it I didn't mess with it that much. I just dabbled in it just to see what it was about, because everyone's like, hey, you know, you wanna do this type of thing, what you're talking about in your streaming, right? Your channel seems like something that this is what we do. So you can do that and integrate it with the Twitch stream, and then there you go, boom. Now we have people who know how to play the game, whatever. But I think that, again, like I said, I think Achievement Hunter does it better, and maybe some other program along the way would help with that. What I would like to see, just like Microsoft has the tool for accessibility for disabled people, which I love, by the way, what I would love to see is either Sony or Microsoft doing something for underprivileged kids, people who maybe can't afford game systems, maybe people who can't afford online services, right? Or don't know how to play video games. Maybe they're in a situation.
Well, I'm going to try to bring this back around because we have one more topic to talk about.
So we took up the whole part.
Yeah, I was just like listening the whole time, like, you try to improve Xbox and shit. What the fuck? But here's the thing. I think what Rex was trying to say is like incentive for exalting Xbox, I guess. Is that?
Yeah. So I guess, like, I used to have normal conversations with individuals, right? And suddenly they joined this program and now they have podcasts out of the blue. I'm not sure why they were interested in podcasts. And for the life of me, I cannot have any normal interaction with the person for them to say anything bad about or anything critical about the the ambassador. As soon as they join the ambassador program, they're like, we're going to say only positives, no negatives, go. It's like, sure, okay. It's just it feels weird. And I've literally unfollowed a few individuals because it's just like, come on, we used to have, really good gaming discussions, but now that you have joined this program, I cannot have any normal conversation with you guys. So That's why I'm trying to figure it out.
Oh yeah. And while yes, that's true. Just like any kind of biased gaming company, right? That can just say, okay, well, you can't say this about the game. You can't say it's bad. It's like a person doing a review, right? You can't really say the game's just terrible, right? Or yet they're not going to give you an early release ever again, or they might, right? They might give you another chance, but on the flip side, that could backfire too if you decided to do it again. So while I agree there's no ongoing progression as far as civil discussion, yes, there's just I feel like that's kind of using the gaming community to a default, and I don't think it's fair, right? I think that everyone should have a decent conversation where the game is bad. There's something bad about the game. It should be expressed through everyone's personal opinions, right? Or their experience.
You can't do that when you're getting paid from something. You can't.
Right.
So these particular these guys, you can't. You just can't. You can't. When you work with corporate people, you can't, because if you want the stuff, then you're going to have to abide by. Like, there's going to be NDAs that says that you got to do X, Y, and Z. You have to. It doesn't matter who it is, with Sony or whatever. It's just that Sony decided not to. I guess they went to carve their own narrative, I guess. You know what I mean? But speaking of this, Sony just announced that they just purchased another studio, which is Haven Studios. And, as somebody that favors PlayStation, I don't really give a fuck. I do know what's in that studio is a lot of heavy hitters, people that left Naughty Dog, people that left Santa Monica, people that left the Call of Duties, Destiny, whatever the case is. They all went over there to make the studio. But to be honest with you, Jade's track record, to me personally, isn't the best. And I don't like they said that, they want to make things more inclusive. And I really, really hate that word when it comes from a corporate mouth. It's like, what's include? Why? What's in there that's so inclusive?
It's to be colorful and beautiful and blossom, and everyone is. I'm sorry. It's so fucking frustrating. Just make a fucking game. My God, I don't understand. You know what I mean? I'm going to say some volatile shit here, but it is what it is.
Oh no, we forgot to put in a little Asian child. Canceled.
Yeah, like what the fuck? So I'm going to say this, right? And like I said, whatever they did, I think Sony was going to buy them anyway. They made the fucking studio. And you can see Jeff Grubb was fucking butthurt. He was like, that looks like organic growth. But a lot of these people say anything for a fuck. What's my patented dancing for clicks? That's what they be doing. So they'll say any ridiculous thing to get any type of engagement. So you really can't take too much. But I did go onto his Twitter page, and it sounds like this motherfucker was so crazy on Xbox. Most of his shit is Xbox related, which is interesting because he claims that he's a neutral.
Wait, how is that not organic? The studios never even released the game. They partnered with Sony, so it's basically like...
That's what they mean. It's not organic because they didn't have a history. That's what he was trying to say. And to be a journalist, use a dummy.
They have a history. It's just very short. It's only been with partnering with PlayStation.
They do have a history. The history is all the people that was 2/3 of the fucking people that was in that development studio have worked with Sony before. Like, people don't seem to fucking know that. It's like dumb, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they just finding any little thing to complain about, because they get the clicks. If it has Sony in there, and if it's negative, because Sony typically does a lot right. They're ready for it. And when you see something negative, like these microtransactions, people losing their mind, giving it a 1. You fucking serious with a Gran Turismo? I mean, come on, man. Like, everybody don't even know what the fuck. It's a grind. Have you played Gran Turismo 3 and 4 and 5? Do you know what a grind is? My PS5 or PS3 there was some flimsy fucking consoles, and it required me to just keep that bitch on for 2 days to finish one of those things. And they talking about some fucking grind, yo. 800,000 within 2 days of an hour a piece. Like, come on, bro. By the way, I'm not that big on Jay Raymond. And it's just, I don't know. This whole inclusion lifestyle, the whole thing, everything black or LGBT or whatever, is very irritating to me. You know, somebody tried to make Aloy have this shipping with Talana from the first game, and she's clearly, her side quest is clearly looking for a guy that she really cares about. And for some reason, somebody puts in there, they want to make her, like, they want to make Aloy gay. Now, I would be wrong if I took a gay character, like, I don't know, Ellen Page, and made her into a fucking, like, a heterosexual woman. Wouldn't I be wrong if I did that? If I had Ellen Page touching up on an actual dude, I'd be wrong for that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't understand this whole life. It's so fucking irritating to me, man. It just burns. Like, it's just that kind of culture of trying to make everything inclusive when that's not how the world works. The world is extremely compartmentalized. You're not going to get a kumbaya for every fucking thing. There's no fucking way to make humans kumbaya this shit. There's just no way. Anyway, thoughts on this Haven Studio acquisition? Does anyone care?
Oh, actually, I care big time, and not from what they're making care. They're finally in Canada, Quebec or Montreal, and the amount of talent they have in that country is ridiculous. And one of the interesting things, of course, with that news release in the corporate speak, they said that the project is moving as quicker than expected. Of course, it's going to move quicker than expected because these individuals who most of the time that got recruited was part of the previous studio with Stadia. So they already have a concrete set of ideas what they want to do, and and we're going to see what Haven Studio is doing in the near future, and then we can get excited, right? Finally, we can get excited. But it is, it's very astute for them to acquire or organically grow or incorporate or be present in the Montreal area, because you have Ubisoft, you have EA, you have numerous companies, and specifically very talented devs in that area. And
WP as well.
Yeah, and all of them would be highly interested in joining the PlayStation Studios, because at the end of the day, one thing that PlayStation does better than anyone else is not because they have a talented developers inside the studio. That doesn't matter. What they have is they have the ICE team. They have the Malaysia studio. They have visuals. What is it called? Where Robert works. Visual studios where literally a team of animators work on day in day out on game animations, and also performance capture. They have Sony Music with their full string orchestra ready on tap. They have thousands of people around the world who specializes in localization. No wonder their games are top quality. It's not because of just the studio. It is backed up by a mega amount of talented people around the world. And hence the reason when you see Horizon Forbidden West, it just looks so different than anything else you've ever seen. I know, when people are listening to this, they're gonna go, "Oh, this guy is hard." PlayStation fanboy, but it's just it is what it is. And actually, to say the least, I had a friend who worked on the ICE team, and he was handpicked out of high school because he was a math genius, and PlayStation or Sony paid for his full tuition and to do his master's and then to do his PhD. And during that time, he worked and assisted in terms of, tech development for the ICE team. So, that's the level of, support we're talking about. And anyone who is in the Haven studio area will be extremely happy that they're going to get that support. There's no crunch, at least. And then, of course, we can move on to my issues and my worries with Playground Studios and what they're doing. So, if there's a topic in relation to that one, because it is a good contrast between what Guerrilla did, what Playground is doing, and how Haven is coming into as being part of the PlayStation, I guess, family.
Well, I mean, we'll see. The concept art, and we'll just leave this here. The concept art for Haven Studios game looks fucking immaculate. You know what I mean? And then they all.
No, you have to be very careful with that concept. That, like, my understanding of it is that someone in the art teams, so it is not indicative of the project they're currently working with. So just Yeah.
Say that one more time.
It is not and I hate concept arts because it doesn't mean anything at the end of the day. It helps the arts or the asset team in around the world to make asset close to the concept up. Other than that, it is nothing. And also be careful with that Haven concept art. It is not indicative of what they are currently developing. Because
so we don't even know.
No. I wouldn't even reference that. It's fugazi. It's fluff.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
No, it's like you've seen the concept, and if we're talking about concept arts, right? You've seen the concept art for Anthem. Excuse me, Starfield. See what I mean? Like Anthem as concept art looked amazing. Now, if anyone who has played it knows that it really didn't play amazing.
Well, I think it moved and everything amazingly. It's just it wasn't finished. I will say this though. Nowhere close to being finished. I will say this. We got a really, really nice show that we're going to do. Remember, these shows are recorded on YouTube at Gamecast. You'll see me. Or if you don't use YouTube, you can use Twitter, and these shows are recorded now. But Saturday, I hope you're there, Reckon, because I would like your stance on this. So I already told you that the subject is going to be Sony no longer the media's darling. You know what I mean? When they came out on PS, like when 2013, Sony could do no wrong. And from that point on, because they were hitting all the notes, everybody just has this vitriol for Sony. And then people seem to, this is the second topic, people seem to conflate having a high budget and being a very corporate game. And I think Sony makes a really good distinction. And it's unfortunate that I think that Horizon Forbidden West was caught up in this. Because it has high production values, people think that it's very corporate and very, very by the books and template based, and it's just not. Well, we're going to end it here. Thank everyone for coming up in here and showing me some love here. I really appreciate it, guys. I really do. But yeah, if you're going to be here, if you're going to be there Saturday at 7, it'll be great. But anyway, you guys.
Yeah, sorry, I can't usually, weekends is different time for different, things. But I guess the main thing I've got to say, and you can reference it, is that they've changed their marketing plans to be media centric. So they would release a new information to media, and that information would be dispersed through other media outlets. But my understanding of it is their internal metrics showed that it is much better for them to release the information themselves, and then it gets dispersed. But you know, a major entity like IGN or GameSpot or, you know, Giant Bomb, you name it, they will not going to get much information out of it. Now, the only exception to this is two entities at the current moment. One is Wired with their tech stuff, and the other one is GamesBiz. What was it? GamesBiz. They tend to give interviews with them. Other than that, they hardly release any additional information to other outlets.
Yeah, they gotta have something with Wire because they give like Mark Cerny interviews with Wire and tech stuff with Wire for everything.
Actually, there's a reason to it because heavily the tech people are like really in tune with what is happening in Wired. And if you are interested, be subscribed to Wired. I have no affiliation to Wired, but I do love their content.